Welcome friends. In this video, we are going to look at English paper 2 for the year 2009. And we are going to first begin by discussing of the question concerning the summary here. So we have question 1, summary, 20 marks. Then you read the following passage carefully and then answer the questions that follow. So now I just want to share with you guys only how to get the points given the passage here. Then the other thing is whenever you are given a passage that you are supposed to summarize, make sure when now writing your final answer, you need to make sure that you use your own terms. So do not copy the where exact terms are. So now let's begin with first paragraph. 10 minutes passed. Toera kept standing hoping that Moiza would open the door. He did not. She decided to put up one more attempt. She walked to the bedroom window and knocked. 2, 3 times, there was no response. The fourth knock yielded some noise from the inside. Moiza opened the window. "What do you want?" he roared. "Please." Before she finished, Moiza spat into her face. The spittle was light, but the impact it had on her heart was stronger and heavier than a slap. "You will never see me here again," she said and walked away. She collected her bags and walked toward the road where she was going. She didn't know, but she knew she was running away from her spitting husband. To start with, Toera thought her husband was playing the no-nonsense game every new husband wants to play, but spitting into her face was more than she could bear. She wondered where to go from here, so late in the night, hardly a month after the wedding in which the man had invested so much. Tears rolled down Toela's cheeks at the thought. She did not realize where she was when suddenly a car parked by her side. "Taxi!" shouted the driver. She entered and sat in the passenger seat. "Where to, Sissy?" he asked. "I don't know," she stated. The driver paused and looked at her closely. He was struck by her beauty. He was used to women who asked for lifts, not knowing where they were going. He knew how to treat them. But this one looked different. She seemed to have had a purpose in life which was disturbed in the course. Toera could correctly read the driver's mind. She had to quickly think of a name or a place to go. She didn't have much money, not even enough for a taxi. She had to think of someone who could pay for a taxi. "Would you know Benson? Big Ben?" she asked the driver. At the mention of Benson, the driver's face brightened. "Is there any driver who doesn't know Big Ben in this part of town?" he remarked. "Who are you to him?" asked the driver. "He is my cousin," said Towera. The driver looked at her with doubt. "Ben is a nice person. We wonder when he is getting married," he said. Towera kept quiet. They crossed this road and that one. Towera did not know where they were. Suddenly, the car slowed down and hooted. "Big Ben, I have brought your cousin," announced the driver. "Who is there?" asked Ben, sounding sleepy. "I am Toera. It's a long story," she said, fearing he would reject her there and then. Breathless, Ben opened the door and let them in. He paid the driver. The driver drove off. Then Ben helped Toera carry the luggage into the house. Toera observed him walk like an obedient servant. She was mumbled. Just one look around the house swept off Toera's mental feet. The type of seats, musical machine, and the thick carpet, so much wealth. She sat on the comfortable seat. Benson sat directly opposite her. So, what brings you here? He asked. Not every sure of what she was going to say, she stated. I am sorry that I have come here to bother you. Firstly, let me thank you for opening the door for me. I wish I could do more, he said. But now, Mrs. Moiser, what is happening? I hope it is not a trap, he said. Well, when we stood at the market, Moiser saw us, she said. Yes, I thought so. He agreed with her. So what does he say? He has chased me away from his home. What? An end to marriage? Exclaimed Ben. Toya looked down. When she looked up, tears rolled down her cheeks. Benson got moved. He stood up and knelt down by her side. Don't cry, you are here now. Leave everything in my hand. When Toya cooled down, Benson sat back into his chair and relaxed. Then, after a long time, he said, And you chose to come here? Suppose he finds you here. It makes no difference, said Toya. After what appeared a century, Benson said, So what shall I do? I just want to spend the night here in your spare bedroom. Then tomorrow I take you back, asked Benson. He spat into my face, Toya replied. Surely, Ben, do I deserve such treatment just because I stood with you? Benson shook his head and said, What I can't understand is why some men throw good luck to the wind just like that. Now, Ben, are you going to throw me out too and spit into my face? Pleaded Toya. That would be the last thing I would do, said Ben. Then he stand up. Ben led her round her room. Here is the kitchen and eat anything you want. Left alone, Toya opened the fridge. She could not believe it. Now let's look at the question. Write a summary of the events leading to Big Ben's marrying the girl of his dream. Use not more than 100 words. The summary has been started for you. Over Big Benny, Moiser quarreled with his beautiful new wife, Toera. And so now, let's go first. We need to go back to the beginning of our passage. So I just want to show you how you can look at the points. Now, how do we know that this sentence consists of the point? So the first statement or word that you need to look at is we'll look at the word but. And then followed by but. So the key point here is you just have to focus on the sentences where we have conjunction words. So if we begin from these sentences, you would see that the first point is she walked to the bedroom window and knocked. 2, 3, there was no care from Moiser opened the door. Then let's look at some more sentences. Before she finished, Moiser came. But here we have another point here also. So this is our sentence with the word and. You will never see me again, she said, and walk away. Another point here. She collected her bags. Okay. Then what else? Okay, so the key point here, I'm just underlining sentences where we have the words and but. Okay, where else? Okay, so we have these. Okay, so what else? So after you've underlined some of these sentences with the word and, then you can now start writing your summary. Now remember, a summary is it is just like you are trying to shorten up this long passage into a short passage. So make sure now when you are writing these underlined points, do not write them the way they are. Make sure you use your own terminologies. So these are the points that we can so far use. Then the other thing is you also have to focus on the question. The question is write a summary of the events leading to Big Benny's marrying. So the whole thing is about Big Benny's marrying. So as you are getting these points that we've underlined, make sure they are in line with the demand of our question here. Okay. So that's what you do then. You can write your summary like that. Now let's look at question 2, comprehension, 12 marks. Read the following passage carefully and then answer the questions that follow. Science and literature connection. Now comprehension is all about how do you comprehend a given passage. So the whole thing depends on the ability to understand a given passage. So here we are going to go through this passage. Then from there we need to look at the questions that will be asked. So let's look at paragraph 1. There was a chief in a certain village. He had many slaves. Whatever he wanted to be done, he ordered it. If it was a wise thing he wanted, his various counselors said to him, yes, it is good. If it was not a wise thing, they said just the same, yes, it is good. Because if they disagreed with him, he grew angry, saying, what do you say? The chief doesn't know what he's doing. But the lowest of his counselor never said yes or no. If the chief asked him about a certain thing, he would think for a while and then reply. All things are linked. So here we have at least an idea of what this passage is all about. The passage is all about the chief. Then he also his counselors and the decision that the chief was making, of which the decisions, whether bad or good, were supposed to be followed and obeyed, and it was supposed to be in support of the counselors. Now we can also hear that there were some counselors that were in support of whatever decision the king made, but of which there was one of which was considered to be the lowest counselor, who never said a thing when the king was asking for an answer. What he was saying was all things are linked. So the word linked here means connected. So all things are connected. That's what this lowest counselor said. Now let's look at paragraph 2. It happened one time that the chief could not sleep at night because of the croaking of frogs in the marshes. So croaking is that sound produced by frogs, especially during the night. Night after night he could not sleep and decided at least that the frogs would have to be exterminated. So to exterminate is to to get rid of, to remove, to make sure that those things stop to exist. He told his counselors what he intended to do. One by one, as usual, they applauded him, saying, yes, it is good. Only the lowest of the counselors did not speak. The chief said, you, counselor, have you not no tongue in your mouth? The man thought for a while, then he said, oh chief, all things are linked, all things are connected. The chief thought, this man knows nothing else to say. Okay, let's look at 3. The chief sent his slaves out to exterminate the frogs in the marsh. So the marsh is just like stagnant water. Yes, so yeah, we have those frogs. They killed frogs until no more frogs remained. They returned, saying, sir, the frogs are done with. That night the chief slept well, and he slept well for many nights thereafter. He was pleased with his life. Okay. But in marshes, the mosquitoes began to rise in swarms. So in swarms, we are looking like in numbers, in numeracy, like in men. So to rise in swarms because there was no frogs to eat their larvae. They came into the village. They came into the chief's house and beat him. They made his life a misery. The people of the village suffered. So the chief ordered his slaves to go out and kill mosquitoes. The slaves went out, they tried, but the mosquitoes were too numerous. They continued to plague the village. The chief called his counselors. He scolded them, saying, "When I asked you about killing the frogs, you answered, 'It is good.' Why did you not say, 'If the frogs are killed, the mosquitoes will multiply'? Only one of you said something for me to think about. He said all things are linked, but I did not understand his words." Then in paragraph 6, the mosquitoes hordes made life unlivable. People left their houses and the fields and went away. They went to distant places, cleared new field, began living again. The old village became deserted except for the chief and his family. Then his family, finally, the chief took his family and went away. And he went away. Because of what happened, he came to be saying, yes, it is good, caused a village to become deserted. So now for the word horde means a large group. So like a group, we say a large group of things. Then deserted, to desert is to leave something, just to leave a place where it becomes a desert. Then let's look at the question 1. The story is about A, bad chief; B, mosquitoes and frogs; C, ecological ignorance; D, wrong counseling. So we know that the whole story is about the chief, the decision that the chief was making, plus some of the supports that he got from the counselors. Now, what is this story about? Is it about a bad chief, or is it about that the chief did not know, or he was ignorant for ecological knowledge, or is it about wrong counseling? So the story is all about wrong counseling, because every person has a bit to make a mistake, but what is important is the people that surrounds him or her to advise on what to do. So this is what the story is all about. So it's about the counseling that he was getting from the council. So those councils were supposed to advise him when he makes such a bad decision. Then if you look at question 2, what was the truth according to the chief? What the majority councillor said, his opinion, what the lowest councillor said, that were things. So what was the truth according to the chief? His opinion. Remember, whatever he said stands. So his opinions were considered to be the truth. Question 3, according to paragraph 1, what type of people did the chief not like? So he did not like the opposers, those that were trying to oppose, to be against his decision. Then in the same paragraph 1, the lowest councillor always agreed, said nothing, remained neutral, interlinked things. So we know that he was saying all things are linked. Then, according to paragraph 2, the chief was irritated by the lowest councillor's answer. He was consulted the councillors for an answer. Then the chief interrogated councillors one by one. The chief accepted any group advice given. So he was irritated by the lowest councillor's answer. Then 6, the frogs irritated the chief with their, the first one, prolific breeding. No. So the answer is nocturnal noise. A nocturnal noise, it's just the noise at night. The word nocturnal has to do with the night. Then for 7, after the frogs were exterminated, A, mosquito bites increased. B, snakes became personal, the village stank. D, mosquitoes became noisy. The answer is A, mosquito bites increased. 8, the main culprit of the disaster in the swamp. The main culprit of the disaster in the swamp was the chief, where the slaves was the lowest councillor, where the other councillors. So the main culprit was just the chief. According to the passage, all things are linked implies the first one, independent, interdependent, so they are dependent. It implies dependency, meaning all things were connected. There was a connection between each. Like for instance, we are told that there was a connection between the frogs and the mosquitoes. So the frogs were feeding on the mosquitoes. As the mosquitoes were fed by the frogs, the population of the mosquitoes reduced. As a result, they had at least a piece of that. Then question 10, choose the underlined words in the passage that means the same or nearly the same as the words below. Write the word against each word or phrase. So the first one, left alone. So we want to look at the word that we think means the same as left alone. So linked, no. Croaking, no. Exterminated, no. Mash, no. Swarms, no. So the word that means the same as left alone is deserted. Then large numbers we have swamps. Look at, is it swamps? I mean, large number is okay. Let's look at so it is swamps. Okay, swamps, not hots. So it's swamps. Then connected, we know that it's linked. Wiped out to get rid of. So wiped out is exterminated. So this is what I can share for you for this comprehension. Now let's move on to look at the transformation. In each of the following items, sentence A is complete, but sentence B is incomplete. Complete sentence B, each time making it as similar as possible in meaning to sentence A. Make sentence B one sentence, never two. Do not make changes to the printed parts of sentence B. So here we have the transformation, which are commonly known as the rewrites. So the key point here is we want to make sure that we transform the first sentence into another sentence minus changing the original meaning. So that's what we want to do. Okay, so now the first question, all the cattle are in the crow. So a crow is like a surrounding covered. It may be covered by wire, or it's something like wire fence where the cattle are kept during the night. Now we have the first word here is none. So say this will change to, so say none of the cattle. Now whenever we use none, we need to change from plural to singular. So say none of the cattle is, so is outside the crow. So you can see that we still have the same meaning. This sentence still means that all the cattle were in the crow. So none of the cattle is outside the crow. Then we move on to question 2. Football and basketball are popular games in Zambia. Then begin football together with basketball. Now also remember, whenever we use together with, changes also into singular. So together with basketball is popular. So that's a key here, is popular game in Zambia. Then we go to question 3. You never solve this problem until somebody helps you. Not until, so not until somebody, not until somebody helps you, will you solve this problem? So not until somebody helps. So we don't need this. Not until somebody helps will you solve this problem. Then we go to question 4. Most people consider football the most interesting sport in the world. Then we have begin football. So football is considered the most interesting sport in the world by most people. So football is considered the most interesting sport in the world by most people. It's considered the most. So by, we don't need to put the most here. So just say football is considered the most interesting sport in the world by people. Then question 5. I prefer going to the cinema to watching television. I would rather go to the cinema. So if we use rather, we are going to use than. So I would rather go to the cinema than to watch watch television. So I would rather go to the cinema than watch television. Okay, so now we have the 6th one. As the horse galloped across the road, it narrowly missed the car. So we'll say galloping across, galloping across the road, comma. Then so the first part here, we don't have to indicate the doer of an action, so the doer of an action will have the horse and the car. So then if after the comma we are going to indicate the horse, so say the horse was narrowly missed by the car. So galloping across the road, the horse was now narrowly missed by the car. Then in question 7, it is only after going for voluntary counseling and testing that you know your HIV status. So begin with the unless. So unless is negative. So unless you go for voluntary counseling and testing, comma, you will not know your HIV status. So key point here is unless is same as if not, so it's a negative. So if not, you go for voluntary. You are not going to know because you have not gone for that. Then we have question 8 where we have been given this first sentence. It is in a reported speech and we want to take it back into direct speech. The teacher has said that he wanted me to tell him the truth or he would slap me. So what are the changes that we are supposed to make? Would must go back to will. Me will go back to you. So we can say this: tell me the truth. Tell me the truth, or I will slap you. So that's it. So the teacher said, tell me the truth or I will slap you. Then for question 9, my mother was too bewildered to talk. So bewildered my mother was that. So whenever we have, so we need that she could not talk. Then in question 10, my performance does not improve although I train very hard. No matter how hard I train, comma, my performance does not improve. Okay, so now let's move on to section 2. In each of the following sentences, 4 words have been put in brackets. For each sentence, choose the best word and write it on the question paper in the answer space provided. Example A, she picked dash the cup. she picked up the cup. So we can see that we have some of these will act as the phrasal verbs. Now, phrasal verbs, we'll look at their words where we have a preposition and sometimes a verb. And whenever you combine these words, will form a new meaning. Like the first one, they took dash their heels when the lion roared. So to took, so they took to. They took to their heels. It means they ran as faster as they could. Then question 2, she was praised. She was praised dash telling the truth. So for telling the truth. Ducks wade through. Okay, so here it's through dead water. Thieves broke into the bank safe and so we are looking at the store and they went away. So and made away. And made away with that sums of money. No one liked the song, but it soon caught on. So to caught on simply means even if the song was disliked, it went viral. It went viral. That's what it means to caught on. Then question 6, humans are liable. We have error here, so liable to error. 7, brothers and sisters should get along. So to get along means like you need to have a good relationship. Then question 8, I couldn't make dash who he was since it was dark. So I couldn't. So this is I couldn't make up who he was since it was dark. Mutinda didn't really want to go to church, but her friends talked her against it. So talked to her about it. Then question 10, the soldiers carried dash with exercise despite the heavy rain. So they didn't stop, they continued. So it's carried on, to carry on, to continue. Then 11, my uncle died 3 years ago, but it's taking me a long time to get, like you can't forget it, so it's to get over it. Number 12, our enemies blew dash the bridge to delay our advance. So blew up, they destroyed the bridge. The president will come here next week to drum. Okay, so this is it, to drum up support for his candidate. This means that he's coming now. To drum up simply means like pulling up socks, like you want to do the best, you want to put in more energy. 14, Jenny backed dash of the debate when nobody agreed with her. So backed out. So backed out. When I was looking for my pen, I came dash my lost stamp. So this is like the main focus was looking for the pen, but because of that, this person accidentally came across the lost what? Stamp. So the answer is across. Then question 16, the Minister of Education wanted to visit our school next week, but his plans have fallen. So have fallen out, fallen forward. So it's fallen down. To fell down, it doesn't necessarily only means like he fell on the ground. It also means like something are not falling down. So it has fallen through. The answer is through. So to fall through, it means it has failed. Our church wants to cut dash the amount spent on the pastor's trips. So our church wants to cut, so it's to cut back, like you want to reduce somebody's salary, to cut back. Then 18, she was literally screaming dash rage. Rage simply means like anger, so it's with anger. The board chairperson presided, to preside, it's presided over the meeting in a biased manner. She could not make it to school for she was incapacitated by illness. So this is what I can share with you guys for this video. So I don't know what you think of this. I would like to hear from you also. You can write your views in the comment section below. So I would love to hear from you guys. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.